So obviously Alabama.
I guess they're pretty good at football, right?
Yeah, the SEC as a whole is the most predictable conference ever. We all know we're going to see Alabama versus Georgia in the SEC championship again. It's not really a discussion. Georgia will win the East, Alabama will win the West. If I have to pick a team here to give Alabama some trouble,
Texas A&M. Let's go.
I have them on the list. I'd say Arkansas first because they bring back KJ Jefferson at quarterback. They lose Treylon Burks. He's on the Titans now.
Yes, with asthma.
Yeah. And also he had a wrist thing too. He got hurt in the preseason game. But I think Arkansas probably has the only chance, but it's not a realistic chance. Alabama's loaded. And then Texas A&M, just because, I mean, this defense was good as hell last year, but it got gutted. 91st in the country in returning production on defense this year for Texas A&M. They lost a ton of their talent. But Jimbo Fisher is the coach, and he's a great head coach, so I'll throw them in there as well. But this is Alabama's division right here.
I'm looking at Alabama from last year, and while 7-1 is obviously dominant, right? But, like, look at their points. They just scored 50 more points than the second team, only because, their offense was good. But is that alarming that they only scored 100 more points than their opponents? I know it sounds like a lot, but you know what I mean? Like, were they a lot more closer games last year than normal?
Yeah, hell yeah. They almost lost to Auburn and LSU. They were down 10-0 to Auburn with like 3 minutes left. They ended up winning.
Yeah.
And then same thing with LSU. They were down late. Alabama may have gone to the national championship game because they ended up winning those close games, and then they got hot at the end and beat Georgia in the SEC championship, only to lose a few weeks after that. But they got hot at the right time, but in reality, over the course of the whole season, Alabama last year wasn't as elite as their record showed. That being said, they will be this year. They're loaded.
Got it. Now, if we flip it on over to the East, we bring that up. There we go. SEC East. Georgia Bulldogs, obviously last year's darlings. I mean, look at the defense of the Georgia Bulldogs, bro. 66 points let up for a season. Some bad teams let that up in 1 week. These guys had this over the course of one season. Jesus Christ.
That comes out to be just about 8 points allowed per game in their 8 SEC games. That's against an SEC schedule too. 8 points a game allowed. So yeah, Georgia is going to win this. But just two teams to keep an eye on are the same two teams that were there last year. Tennessee. Look at that offense. 278 points. Hendon Hooker transferred there from Virginia Tech last year. And I don't think anyone was expecting that. That offense is one of the most explosive offenses in the country, and it should be again this year. So Tennessee has a fighting chance. Also, Kentucky. I think Tennessee's better than Kentucky, but Kentucky does have Will Levis, and the reason I'm mentioning him on this show is he's a guy being talked about as far as in the NFL draft next year. You know, when it's a guy who's like, he's not even that good in college, but he's big. He's got the big arm, and he's like the guy that someone could coach up. You know, he's that guy. I don't even think Will Levis is that good, but he does have an absolute rifle. So the NFL scouts like him a lot. I'm being told, I've read that he should be drafted. But overall, I like Tennessee better. But it's Alabama versus Georgia in the SEC. It's basically all you need to know.
Now, would you say the SEC would, I mean, as much as I told you in pre, I was like, I'm going to focus on the Big Ten. We'll talk about the Big Ten in a second. But is the SEC is like, that's like the first 15 picks of the NFL draft? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just,
you could just Ohio State in there.
Yeah, of course. But I mean,
it has the most talent.
It has the most talent. Okay, I'm just clearing that up. So,
but the Big Ten is second, and there's a lot of talent in the Big Ten, especially this year. The Big Ten East.